Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins team up to take out Big E and Bobby Lashley to close Monday Night Raw. AJ Styles and Omos officially break up. What does this mean for both Omos and AJ Styles moving forward? Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch square off on the mic. And Bianca Belair ends up KODing Doudrop to the crowd's delight. All this and much more on your full Monday Night Raw review right after this. Let's talk about supplements for just a minute. The market of supplements is overcrowded, right? It's oversaturated. There's too many to choose from. You just don't know which one you want. You don't know which one's effective, what has potential harmful side effects. Well, I have one that I can tell you with confidence is not only not going to give you any of those negative side effects, but also will provide you with the energy that's sustainable. It doesn't have those crashes. And the product I'm talking about is called Energy Boost. It's from a company called Vitali Boost, and they sell a bunch of other great products. But you can check out the website at vitaliboost.com. That's VITALI boost.com. So what makes Energy Boost so great? Well, it's made from natural, clinically researched ingredients that include caffeine, B vitamins, and other energy-stimulating nutrients. And it's perfect whether you're working out, gaming, studying, or during those intimate times with your partner. Not only does Energy Boost give you sustained, powerful energy, it's also specifically formulated to avoid those negative effects that I was talking about that some people experience with just consuming caffeine alone. I'm a massive coffee drinker. I can tell you the crash is no fun, right? We all know that. Those of us that are Starbucks aficionados or wherever you may get your coffee, we all know what that does. This is not going to give you that crash. And Vitali Boost, by the way, is a leader in the supplement energy market, and customers absolutely love them. Right now, they have a 92% 5-star review on Judge Me. It's a third-party review platform that only accepts reviews from verified purchases, so you know they're not just creating these manufactured reviews. These are real people reviewing the product, honestly, and 92% is an amazing 5-star rating review. So check out Energy Boost today, risk-free. You can go to vitaliboost.com. Again, that's VITALI boost.com. You use our promo code WWE for a discount. But if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the science behind Energy Boost, visit my Vitali Boost's health guide at vitaliboost.com. Again, VITALI boost.com. And right there, you'll find information from peer-reviewed academic journals about the active ingredients in all of Vitali Boost supplements. All of these supplements, by the way, are made in the United States. That's cool. And a reminder, go to vitaliboost.com and use our promo code WWE. You'll get a discount on the Energy Boost and all of their other great supplements. So don't miss out, guys. Go check out Energy Boost. And again, it's vitaliboost.com, VITALI boost.com.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to your Monday Night Raw review on this Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. About 10 days left. No, not about. Exactly 10 days left of the 2021 calendar year. And 2022 is just around the corner. And WWE, as I've continued to say in my opens of the show here for the last several weeks, is they have not taken their foot off the gas, and I give WWE credit for that. Now, is that driven by the fact that they have a pay-per-view on January 1st and they can't just because of their own schedule? Yeah, so there is that. But typically, with this being such a down week or down month in WWE land, this has been a nice surprise to actually feel like I'm being rewarded for watching in December. And what's great is, after December, we are into WrestleMania season. So if you can survive the drudges of December, then you have made it through the tough time of wrestling, cyclically anyway, and made it to WrestleMania season if you can get through the next 10 days. Because after that, it's focused on the Rumble, which of course is the road to WrestleMania. It's crazy how quickly that comes. And here we are. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here. If you want to support us, shameless plug as always, you can do so on Apple Podcasts. I know the ads, especially this time of year, are plentiful, but if you want to get rid of those ads for an extremely nominal fee of 99 cents for the entire month, head on over to Apple Podcasts and go to our page at the top. There's just a button of ad-free, and you'll be able to get subscribed for 99 cents. That will be locked in no matter what happens with my increase in prices. If I decide to increase prices after the holidays, you stay locked in at 99 cents, as well as our 12-month option of $9.99 with 2 months free. You get your price locked in no matter what I do with the price after that. So there's a bit of an incentive there, as well as on Patreon. On Patreon, it's $1 with a bunch of other exclusive content and ad-free content and Discord server and shout outs and stuff. So one last plug, and it's not for my stuff. It's for our fellow co-hosts, other podcasts that they do. The first one is Zach Smith and his Random Wrestling podcast. Go give him some support. Just hit that subscribe button on Random Wrestling. And Michael Ritter, who does a football function podcast. And there's no better time right now, really, than to have a football podcast. We are closing out the regular season, and we are about to head into the wild card weekend, the championship weekend, and eventually the Super Bowl. So no better time to subscribe to a great football podcast than our own Michael Ritter's podcast that he does, which is great. I've listened to it many times. It's called Football Function. Go check it out. If you're a wrestling fan, more than likely you have some interest in other professional sports, likely football. Go give him some support there and hit that subscribe button from Football Function. So, alrighty, let's talk Monday Night Raw that emanated from, was it Milwaukee? I think. Was it Milwaukee? And we got, I think, a decent show. Again, all things considered, the time of year, I think we did. You know, some of the lines were hilarious. I mean, the overselling of some of the things, like when Adam Pearce called the tag team match at the main event of Raw one of the most intriguing or one of the most epic, or some kind of ridiculous statement that it was one of the most, magical tag team matches that Raw in the history of Raw. Something just absolutely laughable. I mean, let's dial it back, Adam. That's you're joking, right? So besides, I mean, those kind of comments that kind of come in on a weekly basis, again, by and large, I thought Raw was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was, I'd say it exceeded expectations only because of the time of year. And let's jump into it here. So we got I think a decent open to the show. Bobby Lashley and MVP. Kind of weird, though, with, of course, Big E coming out and to just kind of again, Big E's reception is just, it's okay. It's the reception you would expect to get, even if he wasn't WWE champion. See, that's the thing with Big E, and I'm not going on to a rant about him. I'm going only by reaction right now, and that's what I'm focusing on. So those of you that are worried I'm going to go on another Big E rant, that's not what I'm doing here. That Big E right now, the reaction he's getting, if you took the belt off of him and he was just on a solo run right now without a championship, he would be getting the same reaction, I think, than if he didn't have a belt. So I think that speaks to the lack of enthusiasm that fans have with him as champion. It's just kind of like, oh, yeah, cool, Big E's champion. I'm more excited that Big E's just kind of on his own and seemingly really on his own. That I think is what most fans are most excited about, rather than him as champion, because I don't feel like him as champion, it just feels so lethargic, doesn't it? Even if you're the biggest Big E fan, you can't deny the reaction he gets from audiences. They're not negative. They're just nice, right? Like, they're okay. They're what you'd expect for Big E, and you'd want for Big E if he was on a solo run where he was journeying himself to the championship. That is the reaction that you'd expect. And right now, it feels like even if he didn't have the belt, it's like, yeah, okay, cool. That's a decent reaction. Decent. Not bad. And so just wanted to point that out. I don't think there's any disputing that the fans don't seem to be elated, over the top, over the moon that he's champion and this is so great, which leads me to still believe that he is going to lose that belt at day one. Part of me is just simply because I want him to, and the other part is actual logic. When I take my own personal opinions out of it, it feels just like the right time to do it. And so anyway, Big E comes out, and we have Bobby Lashley just kind of sacrifice MVP, so to speak. Kind of just offer up MVP to Bobby Lashley, or to Big E. That was kind of weird. I'm not a big fan of Bobby Lashley splitting from MVP. I think they're a great pairing. There's no need for them to split. There's no need. And I think that was a little weird. I don't know if there's something being planted there. Backstage, they also had a weird interaction by his locker about, hey, can you just go get me some water, and kind of dismissive. I don't need to tease this. There's no interest in people seeing MVP split from Bobby Lashley. It's not a thing people are dying to see, okay? It's not. People enjoy this, by and large. Even if he's a heel, he's, I think, an enjoyable heel, and MVP is a big part of that. Bobby's okay on the microphone, and over the last several weeks to months with the MVP out with his injury, he learned to be able to find his voice in WWE and find out, you know, what he can do without MVP there, and he's okay. He's okay, you know, and he could do just fine, because what really sells for him is his look and in-ring. That's really what does it for him. You know, he's never going to make you lose your mind or blow your mind with an epic promo. That's just not who Bobby Lashley is. Hilariously, though, I got to give Big E this. I will give credit where credit's due. He mentioned the fact that Bobby Lashley has a lot of sisters. And then he gave a look to the crowd to see if he would get a reaction from the crowd. And the crowd, I think, were confused and maybe don't remember. One of the worst things that WWE ever did, I remember it was Renee Paquette, obviously Dean Ambrose's, John Moxley's wife, when she did a sit-down with Bobby when they were trying to make him a babyface a number of years ago and trying to do an introspective on his personal life. And he had this really bizarre story about his three sisters and the things he would do with his three sisters. And it's infamous now in Bobby Lashley lore. And since then, it hasn't really been spoken of until Big E brought it up. And I give him credit. I actually kind of chuckled at that. I'm like, whoa, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I don't think the crowd generally understood what he was saying or reacted to it. You could hear some kind of ancillary reaction from some single people in the crowd, but I don't think it caught like Big E may have hoped. But Big E, listen, I'm not your biggest fan of your character, but I got to give you props for that particular statement. So we get a MVP being offered up by Bobby Lashley. Again, kind of weird. Not on board with that. It didn't make sense, at least for my estimation. All right, so I'm back to the task at hand here. Before Big E could get his hands on MVP, though, we had Rollins and Owens strike, and Big E and Lashley were able to fend off their attackers, so to speak. But this would, as we have come to learn in WWE, what would this do? Set up a tag team match. It's as if the spirit of Teddy Long is within the WWE fabric at this point. I mean, you know, when you look at, this is where I know I'm recognizing I'm going off topic here, but when it comes up, I want to address it. You know, people complain about specific things here and there. I do too. No doubt. I'll be the first one to admit it, right? I mean, look at things a lot of times in a vacuum. Look at things just on its own. However, when there are patterns of issues in WWE that you could point to and say, yeah, that is one of the biggest reasons that pro wrestling ratings are generally speaking down over the last 10 years. That is one of the reasons why, you know, pro wrestling is perceived as boring or unpredictable or very predictable now. You know, there are certain things that are microcosms of a larger issue. To me, this right here, where you have two guys come in to clear two other guys out, and you know a tag team match is coming, that to me, it's a representation, a small representation of the larger issue of predictability in a pro wrestling environment that should actually feel the opposite, where I should feel like anything could happen. I should feel that way. And Vince has always lived by that. That's not the case on Raw and has not been the case in a very long time. When is the last time you watched Raw or SmackDown and were just kind of on the edge of your seat, where you actually felt that literally anything could happen. You don't know what's going to happen, who's going to come back, what could happen here, what kind of crazy thing. Doesn't everything just kind of have this overarching dark cloud of corporate control where you just know what's going to set up what and when they're going to commercial break because someone gets thrown to the outside of the ring, when there's an even number of individuals facing each other or facing off or clearing the ring in this instance, a tag team match is coming, and then they act like it's the invention of the light bulb or the discovery of gravity, where when they put this match together, when anybody from elementary school up could probably realize, oh yeah, it makes sense to put them in a tag team match, and they try to sell it as this revelation. I mean, things like that, and like production where people stand sideways talking to each other so the camera can get a good shot. Big E standing essentially with his back to the TV last week and many weeks before that, taking notes, whatever he was doing last week, and somehow watching the TV, but clearly doing it so the camera in front of him, which we're supposed to believe is not visible to him, or at least he doesn't acknowledge, is there. And clearly he's there for the camera in front of him when he's not supposed to acknowledge it. Things like that. I mean, I'm sorry. To me, it's one of the bigger things that is undermining the enjoyability of a pro wrestling product right now. And I know, look, some of you are going to give me negative reviews. He digs too deep. He complains. Here's the thing. Number one, I don't care if you write a negative review. I just don't care. I find them entertaining. And if you think you're damaging my product, you're not. You know why? Because anytime you give a rating, good or bad, it helps the algorithm. So yeah, go ahead, fire off at me if you'd like. But look, my point is there are foundational issues in pro wrestling that are a cancer in wrestling. These are some of those issues, and the symptoms of those large issues are the things I just mentioned. Oh, okay. We see two people fight two people off. They got, they got chased up the ramp. We know we're getting a tag team match. Oh, someone gets knocked to the outside of the ring. We're going to commercial break. We know these things, and you may say, it's in and of itself. Yeah, okay, we know that, but it eats away at the enjoyability because we're watching a product that we should believe is unpredictable. We should be. It shouldn't feel so structured. And that's one of the issues, I think, with wrestling. So, all right, to you negative reviewers, come at me. Come at me, bro. All right. So let's move on here. All right. Let's see. What else we got? Bianca Belair defeating Doudrop via pinfall. We got the moment that I told you that the crowd would react to, and they reacted to in a big way. And that's cool. I just didn't think it would come on a Raw, random Monday Night Raw. But what do I know? They're giving away championship matches left and right. There's no sanctity in the championship realm anymore, where only pay-per-views are where championship matches should be held. So Bianca Belair does hit the KOD on Doudrop. Impressive. Fun moment. We knew it was coming, and the crowd reacted appropriately. I will say this. Bianca Belair has not been featured on the Hulu cut of Raw in many weeks. So Bianca Belair right now is on essentially a hiatus from the main event, and that's fine with me. I know many of you feel that she should be in the main event. Yeah, she should be, but why all the time? Number one, I think that starts to create a bit of a repetitive feel to the main event scene. Number two, you want to save the big matches like Bianca versus Becky Part 2 or whatever it is for another time. Number three, you want to feel like Bianca doesn't just live there and that she can have other programs outside of chasing the championship. Plus you get depth to the character. You get to have a bigger star work with a quote-unquote smaller star in Doudrop to help elevate Doudrop. There are so many benefits to having a main event star, somebody that main evented WrestleMania and had the best match, I think, on the card last year with Sasha Banks, having her take a step or two or three back and just kind of live in the realm of personal issues for a while. It does the character a lot of good. It's like taking a break without taking a break. So I'm fine with this. It was a fun moment, and the fans had a massive reaction for Bianca, and credit to her. She's strong as hell. All right, Finn Balor defeats Austin Theory via pinfall after the coup de grace. I got to say, reading the words coup de grace, if I were to read them just plain in a very just literal way, here's how it would sound. This sounds ridiculous. Coup de grace. That's how, at least CBS Sports, I'm fairly sure that's actually the right way to spell it. So let's listen to how ridiculous this sounds. Finn Balor hit Austin Theory with a coup de grace. And then later in the show, Vince McMahon told Theory that he'd book him in a rematch after Theory attacked Balor backstage. Okay, let me just say this. Okay, maybe I'm going to call it the coup de grace and see how many people I can piss off or give secondhand embarrassment to. Vince McMahon again and Austin Theory. Now, well, before I get there, number one, I will continue to say this every week until it is just a reality. Vince McMahon needs to get the hell off TV. I don't need to see him backstage scribbling some nonsense on paper. I was trying to actually read what he was writing. It looked like just a bunch of letters. I was actually trying to read it to see if he was writing a word or just gibberish. And I couldn't make it out. It almost looked like a word, but I don't know. Maybe somebody can go into that level of detail. But Vince McMahon backstage, why we're bringing Vince back for this makes no sense. But we have Austin Theory who loses to Finn Balor and then didn't want to go to Vince McMahon's office. And I was also surprised that Finn Balor beat Austin Theory. I would have put money on Austin Theory beating Finn Balor, given especially Finn's record as of late. And I'm not talking about beating T-Bar. Okay, I'm taking that out. That doesn't count. I mean, Finn Balor's ghost should be able to beat T-Bar. So Austin Theory, to me, I was a shocking loss. But there was some heat drawn on the back end with Austin Theory attacking Finn Balor backstage, then taking his selfie. So that match is again happening next week. But to me, Vince McMahon now, after Austin Theory was eventually in Vince's office, he got the cubes to get in there. He sat with Vince, and Vince was impressed that he got his heat back, so to speak. He attacked Balor backstage, and he got his selfie. And Vince said, but you lost the match. And he threatened to fire him, but he gave him an opportunity next week with Finn Balor again. What, did anyone can we get subtitles for Vince McMahon at this point? Can we just, seriously, can we just have subtitles for Vince? Because I can't hear match. You're fired. But you catch every third word. Can he enunciate? Can he open his mouth and use his lips instead of just sitting there in this kind of grumpy grandpa vibe? I'm not the clearest speaker in the world. And Vince never really has been either. Even in his prime, he kind of had a raspiness to his voice. But he's unintelligible on the show. Is anybody else experiencing this? I don't know. So if Vince is going to be on my screen, can I at least understand what he's saying? He talks about an eraser. And the implication is that Vince can erase Austin Theory. Well, number one, why is he taking him under his wing to begin with? Why is losing to Finn Balor a potential fireable offense? What does that have to do with anything? And why is Austin Theory taking this? Again, it feeds into the anything could happen, anything should happen mentality when everybody just bows at the altar of Vince McMahon. Whatever happened to the rebellious stars that say F you? I'm not saying Austin Theory should be Stone Cold Steve Austin just because he has Austin in his name. And maybe that's why Vince has taken a liking to him, because he has the word Austin in his name. And maybe Vince subconsciously likes the man because of that. I don't know. But there are so many levels to this that still make sense. Like, why is everyone just cowering? Like Sonya Deville and Bianca, or Naomi, where Naomi just has no snapping point. Bianca last year, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks had no snapping point. And we get now Austin Theory just verbally or voluntarily sitting under this learning tree of Vince being verbally abused on a weekly basis. What is this? What was the point of this? And then you get Vince who's speaking like he's underwater. I don't know. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. And I like Austin Theory. I will say this. The quality of Finn Balor and Austin Theory, I could watch them in an Iron Man match. You know what you're going to get. And that's an excellent match. Excellent. It's nice. I was really glad that Finn Balor got the victory, though, because he needed it. Boy, did that feel like a big victory for Finn, didn't it? Wow. Beating Austin Theory, of all people. That felt like a big victory. So this continues next week, and apparently Austin Theory's job is on the line with no explanation as to why or how that works. But, God, Vince, get off my TV if you're going to sit there and mumble. Maybe Vince can learn sign language. Maybe that's what he can do. I would take sign language Vince over the mumbling, grumpy, grandpa, raspy voice that he can't enunciate for words anymore. Okay, let's move on. Rey and Dominic defeat AJ Styles and Omos via pinfall when Rey Mysterio rolls up Styles. Omos refused to tag in during the match, leading to a brawl with Styles after the match. And after Omos dropped Styles, he said the next time they'd see each other would be in a match. Okay, so the inevitable happens. It happens a little faster than we thought. And however, we did get AJ Styles on Miz TV beforehand, so I got to cover that, though. AJ Styles was being prodded by Miz that, there's a crack in the foundation and, whatever. AJ Styles was trying to smooth it over, saying this happens, and he's everything's fine with Omos, but Miz said that he talked to Omos, who said he's tired of carrying Styles. And Omos did not disagree, which, by the way, I should have said AJ and Omos were on Miz TV. Omos didn't disagree with what Miz just said, but the Mysterios interrupted ahead of their planned match. So Omos didn't get a chance to respond. They just get right to their match. And again, the matchup was, there's nothing really much to say about the matchup. It's just kind of, it wasn't about the quality of the match or anything. There was a storyline between the Mysterios and AJ and Omos. It had nothing to do with that. Dominic and Rey were simply just warm, sentient bodies out there to further a storyline. Had nothing to do with them getting a big victory or nothing, right? They might as well have been wrestling, like an invisible team. Who they were wrestling didn't matter. It was all about the split of AJ and Omos. And here's what I'll say about that. I don't know who's the heel and the face. My guess is that it's AJ as the baby face and Omos as the heel, because the announcers tried to direct the narrative that Omos took out AJ, and then it's how despicable he is. Well, yeah, look, Omos, I will say, was the one who kind of just brought it to that point of not being a participant in the tag team and ignoring AJ. But Omos was not the first one to strike. AJ was. Go back and watch. I'm not saying you specifically, like the pejorative, like just the collective you. Especially announcers. No, AJ physically was the one to strike first. AJ, not Omos. Omos was checked out of the team. Yes, he was mentally done and he's quote unquote tired of carrying AJ. Fine. But AJ was the one to strike first. So I don't want to hear from the announcers of what a despicable human being Omos is, laying out AJ Styles when he was essentially just acting in self-defense. When you look at it that way. But, I get the narrative, and that's why I'm tending to believe they're trying to position Omos as the heel here, especially given that it's a David Goliath situation. Human psychology would tend to direct you in that way, that with Omos being so towering and so dominant that AJ would be the underdog. So we get the split, and here we go with a match. Omos and AJ Styles. I believe it's happening next week on Raw, because nothing matters for pay-per-views anymore. And we're going to get that match. Of course, it'll be maybe a non-finish or whatever, and maybe it'll continue at day one. But we do get that matchup, and I expect AJ to lose decisively, lose brutally, and get sympathy on the AJ Styles character, leading to another day one matchup. That's my thought, where maybe it's no holds barred or something, because I don't think they're going to have a one and done. They need to have one or two matches and then move on from each other. So what does this mean? What does this mean for both of these guys? Well, I'm going to give you a bit of a cliffhanger here. I'll give you that answer, at least my opinion on it, after we give a little bit of love to our sponsor of the show here. And so stick around. We'll be right back. Let's talk about supplements for just a minute. The market of supplements is overcrowded, right? It's oversaturated. There's too many to choose from. You just don't know which one you want. You don't know which one's effective, what has potential harmful side effects. Well, I have one that I can tell you with confidence is not only not going to give you any of those negative side effects, but also will provide you with the energy that's sustainable. It doesn't have those crashes. And the product I'm talking about is called Energy Boost. It's from a company called Vitali Boost, and they sell a bunch of other great products. But you can check out the website at vitaliboost.com. That's VITALI boost.com. So what makes Energy Boost so great? Well, it's made from natural, clinically researched ingredients that include caffeine, B vitamins, and other energy-stimulating nutrients. And it's perfect whether you're working out, gaming, studying, or during those intimate times with your partner. Not only does Energy Boost give you sustained, powerful energy, it's also specifically formulated to avoid those negative effects that I was talking about that some people experience with just consuming caffeine alone. I'm a massive coffee drinker. I can tell you the crash is no fun, right? We all know that. Those of us that are Starbucks aficionados or wherever you may get your coffee, we all know what that does. This is not going to give you that crash. And Vitali Boost, by the way, is a leader in the supplement energy market, and customers absolutely love them. Right now, they have a 92% 5-star review on Judge Me. It's a third-party review platform that only accepts reviews from verified purchases, so you know they're not just creating these manufactured reviews. These are real people reviewing the product, honestly, and 92% is an amazing 5-star rating review. So check out Energy Boost today, risk-free. You can go to vitaliboost.com. Again, that's VITALI boost.com. You use our promo code WWE for a discount. But if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the science behind Energy Boost, visit my Vitali Boost's health guide at vitaliboost.com. Again, VITALI boost.com. And right there, you'll find information from peer-reviewed academic journals about the active ingredients in all of Vitali Boost's supplements. All of these supplements, by the way, are made in the United States. That's cool. And a reminder, go to vitaliboost.com and use our promo code WWE. You'll get a discount on the Energy Boost and all of their other great supplements. So don't miss out, guys. Go check out Energy Boost. And again, it's vitaliboost.com. VITALI boost.com.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
So what does it mean for AJ Styles? Let's start there. What does this mean for AJ? Well, it means that what both of us, I think the majority of the listeners here wanted, and I did, is that he's out of a tag team. He's gone. This is over. The AJ Styles Omos experiment has ended. You could argue that maybe it ended a little too early. I don't think it was insanely early or damagingly early, but there's an argument to be made there. But nonetheless, we're hitting the WrestleMania season. Maybe they just decided to pull it trigger and go. AJ Styles, right now, what does it mean for him? It means he's in a singles role. Does he spend a little time in NXT? Yeah, he does. He does spend some time in NXT, and that's fine if it's a kind of a pit stop and not a destination. From what I understand, it may be just a pit stop. I made a TikTok video, which follow us, by the way, on TikTok at the WWE Podcast. On TikTok, I think I jumped the gun because I hadn't watched Raw or the announcement officially and saw that just it was AJ going to NXT. And I thought it was more of a semi-permanent kind of Finn Balor move. And it doesn't seem to be the case. So I hope AJ is not going to be relegated to NXT. I think him and NXT, while everybody would be focused on, it's elevating new talent, he can elevate new talent where he is right now. Okay, he can elevate new talent right where he is. Austin Theory is one of them. If they want to have him work with Austin Theory, that'd be fun. It's one of a few examples. And also, AJ Styles, selfishly, he doesn't have a whole lot of days in front of him. So, to me, with more eyeballs on Raw than on NXT, while there would be some benefit to helping the newer stars, I don't think he's a needle mover, as Roman Reigns would say, or his shirt would say. AJ Styles just isn't a needle mover, but he's a big time player. And I think that his services would be best utilized on the main roster in the championship picture and getting one more run in 2022 sometime with the WWE Championship, maybe facing Seth Rollins down the line. It seems as if they're moving in that direction because they need another babyface. I mean, let's be honest. WWE needs another big-time babyface, and Big E just ain't cutting it. I don't think. So, at least in the championship picture. So, I think that's eventually what it means for AJ. Now, what does it mean for Omos? I think Omos is clearly headed for the main event. Now, are they splitting them off so that at the Royal Rumble, Omos can have some, one of those like, oh my God moments with Brock Lesnar, or maybe have an oh my God moment with, I don't know, another big man. Can't think of another good example right now, but I think Omos in the Royal Rumble is going to make some noise. I know we're getting 2 pay-per-views ahead of ourselves, but I think that's also going to be a fun thing is Omos in the Rumble and having him go face-to-face with some of the bigger guys that we haven't seen him go face-to-face with yet and see how the crowd reacts. And that's going to be fun. So I think that's another reason. Do I think he's going to main event WrestleMania this year? No. Okay. No. But it also leads to, I believe, a main event picture for Omos also early to mid next year in which he could contend but should not capture the WWE Championship. He still is a bit limited in the ring. I understand his size is a limiting factor, one that he can't control. But I do believe that there is still some work to do on his end, where he needs to improve in the ring to a serviceable level where he could have a 15-minute match and not just make it all headbutts and no selling stuff. So that to me is something that is coming for Omos. AJ and Omos will, I'm sure, cross paths again as I kind of put them in the same picture, but also running parallel to one another after they get through this feud. So, all right. So that is that. Now, before we go any further, I do want to give somebody a little bit of time here that I forgot about on my Sunday night weekend review show. And that is the Crisis, who sent in his list. And I really do want to get to this because his lists are also it's good stuff. So let's get to his trash list right now, and we'll react.
What is good? It is the Crisis Smackdowns. This is the official, unofficial WWE podcast, Crisis Trash Bucket List number 4. And we taking care of your SmackDown for the week. We can start off with the fire. And there was some, I gotta say, good show overall, in my opinion. Starting off, though, hey, the fact that the show started off with welcome to Monday Night Raw. It's boss time. That, just because of the look on Matt's face, fire. All right, starting off Monday Night Raw with an actual match, period. Fire. Starting off with a match with 4 women in it. Fire. Sasha's Spider-Man gear, absolutely fire. And her crossbody reverse into, I don't know what you call it. Go back, watch the match. That move, man. Hashtag Mandalorian. Hashtag fire. Brock on SmackDown, and I don't care what he's doing. What he's doing right now. Fire. Ridge Holland actually being built, I gotta say, for NXT call-ups that do not get used correctly. Him being built, I gotta say, that's hashtag fire. Let's see what else. Oh, Pat McAfee say Sonya Deville was worse than Goodell. That right there, that was fire. Roman's pop when he came out, fire. And goosebumps. I had goosebumps when Heyman said, "I'm not protecting Brock from you, I'm protecting you from Brock." The double F5 to Roman, the F5s on both the Usos outside, the whole final match. Not even a match, the final segment, period. Hashtag scorching fire. All right, Lunchable breaks, King's Court, done. Out, man. Yo, Kuzmo, throw me another Lunchable. Viking Raiders versus Mahal and Stanky. Yeah, that complete lunchable break. And hey, Corbin and Madcap Moss, you guys went from being something I enjoyed, something I giggled at, to now the minute that you come on the screen, absolute lunchable break. Yeah. You know there's some trash today, right? There's some trash. There's always some trash, and that's what I'm here to do, is to take out the trash. Tony Storm's kicks. Yo, girl. Trash. Let's see. McAfee actually distracting from the match with his talks. He was saying some stuff about Toby Keith and this and that. Trash. Shinsuke and Boogs in the King's segment, period. Being in that group of wrestlers. Trash. Let's see. What's the Uso New Day segment? You know, it's we know that it's going to be. We know the matches, no matter what, are always good. But the segments that they have up to it, those aren't guaranteed. So the Usos and the New Day segment, trash. The whole sword in the stone, BS. You tell me two grown-ass professional wrestler athletes, world-class athletes, whatever you want to call them, they couldn't pull a sword out of a wooden table, Man, trash. The whole thing was a debacle. Trash. Still, something that I can't understand. So when the show goes on the air, Paul Heyman is just chilling with the title. If you were a champion, wouldn't you take that title with you? Am I dumb? Did I miss something? Would Heyman always have the title just chilling with him when Roman hasn't been there for a week? Trash. Then that's really it, because I gotta be honest with you. Overall, SmackDown this week, you take out the King's Court, you take out the Viking Raiders and Stanky Leg and Corbin and Mad Cat and Drew McIntyre or anything right now, that is an awesome show. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Matt, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you think about it, but that's what I think. And I will be back on the mailbag with your Monday Night Raw, official, unofficial WWE podcast, Crisis Trash Bucket List number 5.
So there he is, ladies and gentlemen. The Crisis, giving his trash list this week. I know it's SmackDown related, and that's my bad, not putting it on the weekend review. It's been just a whirlwind of no sleep. I know I keep blaming it on that, and it sounds just tired. No pun intended. It sounds like a tired excuse for just not bringing on co-hosts and forgetting things. But it's a real thing right now. With just sleepless. And I'm right now as I speak. It's 9:45 at night. I am on borrowed time right now of getting this podcast done. So. Let's move on. Crisis, thank you for your contributions. I apologize for not getting this in Sunday's show. I understand it's SmackDown related, but I wanted to give you the time. You took the time to record this and send it in. I'm giving you the time on air to vent it, and it's good stuff. So, alrighty, let's continue on with Monday Night Raw. And where was I? Let's get back to CBS Sports. Kind of keeps me on track. I really like this next one. Let's get to something really good. Randy Orton and Chad Gable. Now, the match itself was good. I mean, what do you expect from an Olympic athlete and one of the best all-time in ring of Randy Orton? I mean, you're going to get just a butter smooth match. The RKO that Chad Gable took was just awesome. It was just awesome. It was like a spike RKO, somehow it was done safely. Excellent. I mean, can we see... Maybe that should be like a GIF. Can we get a GIF of Chad Gable getting RKO'd from Monday night? Just great stuff. And what made it even more, to me, more intriguing, and this match is also happening next week. Boy, they have a stacked Monday Night Raw next week, don't they? My God. They have almost a pay-per-view quality matchup or lineup. We're going to get Otis and Randy Orton next week on Monday Night Raw. What made it even more intriguing, though, Randy Orton tried 3 times to hit the RKO on Otis. Also tried last week and failed. He's 0 for 4 in hitting an RKO on Otis. It's interesting. Very interesting to me that in his 3 attempts on Monday Night Raw, he didn't get to hit it once. I really appreciate when they don't just give away something that you really want to see, which does not happen in today's product of pro wrestling, WWE. They often can't help themselves. In this case, they've really gone out of their way to protect Otis here, which makes me think that next week he may not still hit an RKO. And if he does, it's not going to end the match. Randy Orton is not going to Okay, let me start that again. Randy Orton is not going to cleanly pin Otis. I could have edited that out, but I'm giving you guys a little bit of entertainment as I stutter over my words. But look, Randy Orton is not going to pin Otis. Not going to happen next week. At least not clean, and you're going out of their way to protect him for a reason. Reasons we don't yet know, but there's got to be something. And the RKO, the avoidance of the RKO, apparently he has, the reverse button. If those of us that are video gamers, he's hit that reverse button just perfectly on each of the finishers, and it's just great stuff. I got to say, I enjoyed that because I'm like, I want to see what happens when Otis gets a finish hit on him, just like Omos. Omos has not yet had a finish hit on him, much less been taken off his feet, much less lose a match. So, I mean, when you're not even taking finishers. It's not that you're losing matches. You're not even taking finishes. You're not even leaving your feet. So I want to see what happens when Randy Orton hits a RKO on Otis next week. Hopefully he does, because I want to see it. I'm going to tune in to see it. Dolph Ziggler defeats Damien Priest via count out, and the finish came when Priest was distracted by Rude and forgot to pay attention to the count as he attacked Rude outside the ring. Okay, fine. I have nothing really to add to this. Damien was getting a bit of a push. They stopped it. Now they're kind of bringing it back, and Dolph Ziggler is getting a U.S. title match next week. Boy, they're stacking next week's Raw. And you know what? As much as I complain of the sanctity of championship matches and really pay-per-view matches in general that are being given away left and right on free TV, I also understand the need for it when they're trying to spike ratings on a week that is typically way down, and the anticipation of the matches coming up over the next week. We get to speculate and think about what the possibilities are, and it's fun. It's fun. So there's also that, instead of just blindly going into Raw like we do sometimes, if we have no idea what's going to happen, and until the show starts. So sometimes having a bit of a preview of the show is good. Okay, Miz attacked Edge as we had the cutting edge with Maurice. This was kind of weird. This was weird. Not good, not bad, just weird. Where we had Edge on his show. Boy, they love their shows, don't they? I mean, how many shows have they created over the talk shows have they created over the last 10 years? There's probably like 20 of them, I feel like. But we had Edge interview Maurice, who started to go on a therapy session of how awful The Miz is. He's narcissistic. I do everything. I get no credit for anything. It seems like their marriage is falling apart after what The Miz did with Maurice last week, using her as a human shield. And then Edge knows that this is a setup. He knows that this is nonsense from Maurice, that she's trying to make him vulnerable for an attack from Miz. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So Miz, which is exactly what Edge said would happen, Miz attacked Edge from behind still somehow. Edge fended off the initial attack, but Maurice slapped Edge, which provided a distraction just long enough for Miz to hit Edge with a skull-crushing finale. So, I mean, mission accomplished, that it puts more heat on Miz, I guess, where you want to see Edge spear him out of his, out of his boots. But it was also set up very weirdly, because this makes the babyface look a little foolish. And even Corey Graves said, it makes it worse when you know it's coming and you're still fooled. I'm glad they pointed that out. So I give Corey Graves credit for that, because it does make Edge look stupid, right? Like, how does it not make Edge look stupid? He's the babyface. He's the grizzled veteran. And yet he's still fooled even though he knows it's coming? How does that work? I mean, that makes him look double stupid. So that wasn't good for Edge. Is it career damage? Is it damaging in any way? No. This segment will be forgotten next week. But it was in the moment. Like, what? Wait a minute. You're telling me what's going to happen, and you're thinking, okay, well, now that he said it's going to happen, it's not going to happen, and it still happens. And then he's fooled, and the segment still ends the way that, he thought and he called was going to happen. It just was bizarre. And then, of course, you have the Miz or Maurice slap Edge. And in this PG world, you can't have the men ever retaliate, ever. The men are just supposed to cower at any female in front of them and just kind of bow at their altar like, yes, your highness, do whatever you'd like with me because I can't retaliate in this PG world. It's ridiculous. I would, I know that a lot of people out there, oh, that's abuse. Oh, that's, so what kind of message does that send to men out there? I'm not going to get on that political argument. Okay. This is a fantasy world we live in. All right. This world it's not real. Okay. And you could have Edge retaliate. And if this was TV 14, my God, Edge would have speared her out of her boots. And that would have been fun to see. I would have liked to. You can't tell me you wouldn't enjoy seeing Maurice get speared. You could do it in a safe way. Men and women have been, conversing in pro wrestling for many, many, many decades. And there are occasional accidents, but they're professionals. So you do it in a safe way. So I don't know. It'll never happen in this environment. I know Randy Orton is the one exception. He can RKO Beth Phoenix and RKO Nia Jax. That's really the only examples I have over the last 10 years. So it's just, to me, anytime you see a woman slap or kick or do anything to a man, they're just apparently there's this force field of I don't know, shield. It's just this shield of impossibility pops up and they're like, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to freeze in place. So, all right, I'm sure I have some women mad at me for that, but I'm not advocating for any kind of actual abuse. I'm sorry somebody will interpret that way, but when you realize that we're talking about pro wrestling, like a TV show, yeah, okay. Anyway, moving on. Again, this was not good for Edge. It did make him look a little bit dumb. Not gonna lie. But it did not hurt this storyline in terms of its totality and ultimately what we want to see, that I think we will see, which is Edge destroying The Miz at day one. And that's fine. Eventually Beth Phoenix, I think, will get involved as well because she's a woman. She'll be able to hit the other woman. So it's a very one-way street when it comes to that. So Beth Phoenix, I think, will come to the defense of her husband next week. That's my guess. And eventually we'll get a tag team match. Okay. Rhea Ripley defeats Queen Zelina after hitting Riptide. And boys, Queen Zelina is about as stereotypical as it gets when it comes to the queen or king gimmick, isn't it? Loyal subjects, the scepter, the accent. It doesn't get any more just on paper than this, does it? And I love Zelina Vega. But the only thing good about this for her is, number one, she's getting TV time. She's getting victories, except this week. And she has a little bit of a wrinkle where she's using her accent, flips into herself, gets mad at the crowd, and then flips back to the British accent. That's about the only entertaining thing with this. And the good thing for her is, of course, TV time. So, but Rhea Ripley beats Zelina with Riptide very convincingly. There's no hocus pocus in this one. So, let's see. Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan traded verbal barbs. That's how it was labeled here. And I'm actually trying to think, before I get to the end here, because after we only have 2 more segments, were there no roll-ups? Hang on. I'm looking through all the finishes. Nope, never mind. There was a roll-up in the Mysterio, AJ Styles, Omos. That would have been epic, right? They just made the quota. There has to be one roll-up at least. So, never mind. I thought I came upon an epiphany. Okay, so Becky and Liv trade verbal barbs. Morgan had attacked Lynch at a training session, and then Morgan vowed to start 2022 by becoming Raw Women's Champion. This was also weird. Again, not bad, just weird, right? Like, Becky says that she's going to go home and train. Well, number one, how does Liv know when? How does she know where? Like, I mean, there's so many things. And also, when Liv gets to this facility that apparently Becky Lynch owns, this private gym, which may or may not actually be the case, how do they know, the people in the building who are apparently ready for Liv, how do they know when to put a phony Becky Lynch in the ring so that Liv would think that's Becky? Did they see her pull up? Are there cameras along the road? Did they put a GPS tracker on her car? Here's where people are, oh, you're overthinking it. Well, that's kind of what we do here on the show, right? I mean, we dive into where logic is missing. So love it or hate it, that's what we do. And to me, though, like, oh, she knows she's going to show up. Becky knows Liv is going to show up. Liv shows up. And you see Liv in the ring behind this person with orange hair that looks like Becky Lynch. And for some unexplainable reason, Liv takes, 10 minutes to actually attack this person, which ended up, of course, not being Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch then comes out of nowhere, presumably maybe hiding under the ring, I don't know, behind her, takes the kendo stick, and with a significant delay, after she takes the kendo stick from Liv Morgan, there's like another long delay. And Liv doesn't immediately turn around. Why wouldn't you? Somebody just took your weapon. Why are you not immediately being like, whoa, who's this? Right? Instead, there was this long delay. Eventually, Liv does get the upper hand. Becky, does get kicked out of her own ring. It was weird. Very weird. And, also claiming that she beat up the trainee. It was one single shot with a kendo stick. A single shot. I don't know. This was weird. I don't know what to make of it. The promo from Liv Morgan was okay. I like her tone of voice. I like her speaking voice. She's got a very feminine but commanding voice, if that makes sense. There's something about the way Liv Morgan speaks and her tone and how deep her voice is, but it's not masculine. It's still feminine but commanding. I don't know how else to put it. And she speaks very clearly. I like the way Liv Morgan speaks, and she's got that just commanding presence to her as well. Albeit her content this week it's fine. She says that she's going to start the 2022 by becoming Raw Women's Champion. Okay, that's very high level, but give us the details, right? Like, have a good comeback. Show us your wit. There wasn't a whole lot of that here. And, it was fine. Didn't hurt Liv. She's talking about the bright lights, or Becky was, and how Liv is not going to be able to handle the heat. And Liv says, the spotlight's on me right now, and I'm doing just fine. Why don't you come in this ring? And Liv tosses the kendo stick to Becky, and Becky doesn't take it and just says she has a flight to catch and leaves. So fine. I really didn't have an issue with this. They don't have to have a physical altercation every time. This program is intriguing, I have to say. I don't dislike it. I think it's good. I like Liv Morgan. The crowd reaction to her was very positive. And overall, while I just criticized the complete lack of logic with some of the attack at her compound or wherever she is in this training facility, and the complete lack of that logic there. The only thing I was missing was, of course, waiting for cameras inside of the building to be pointing to Liv Morgan walking in the building. I was waiting for that, but we didn't actually get that, which was surprising. But this program overall is good, and I think that while I just nitpick some of the things, I think overall this has been a very productive storyline for Liv. The most relevant thing easily she's ever done, and Becky's doing a good job elevating Liv too. So good overall for both. All right, let's get to the main event here, and then we'll close it out. Of course, it was very quick. We got the tag team match of Big E and Bobby Lashley defeating Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens via pinfall. And this happened when Lashley hit Owens with a spear, but before the finish, Lashley accidentally hit Big E with a spear. After the 3 count, Rollins hit Lashley with a stomp before he and Owens continued their assault. After taking Big E out with the ring steps, Rollins helped Owens powerbomb Lashley on the ring apron before Owens held Lashley's face down on the ring steps, allowing Rollins to stomp Lashley's head onto the steel. Rollins and Owens shared a hug as the show went off the air. Here's the analysis. I'm only going to give you one of their CBS Sports' analysis, and I'm going to choose the main event. Here's what CBS Sports says about this. There's nothing exciting about WWE seemingly needing to stick every opportunity or every upcoming opponent in can they coexist situations, but the writers can't seem to stop themselves from doing it. It's tired and almost always plays out the same way, with a misunderstanding or accident causing extra issues. All that said, the Rollins and Owens attack and celebration to close the show was a well-executed and carried enough brutality to make it feel like they accomplished something. If only they could have gotten there by traveling a road they hadn't gone down so often. They gave the main event a C. I understand that. And actually, the analysis here is nicely written, where the writers do oftentimes rely on, can they coexist? I mean, there was like week after week of this, a number, I think Survivor Series, when we were in that phase. Can they coexist? Can they coexist? Can they coexist? And it just did not stop. And you ultimately know the answer is inevitably no. Exactly what this analysis says. I agree. But the brutality was very, it was a little bit, it was graphic, it was good, and it brought it to that next level. So I enjoyed it. I think it was fine. And it was a solid way to end Raw, if nothing else, especially given the time of year. So that is it for me, everybody. Thank you so much. We're crossing the hour mark here. I appreciate everybody for listening to the show. Go ad-free. Apple Podcasts, 99 cents a month. Patreon, $1 a month. So yeah, we charge a penny more on Patreon. I know, it's just insane, right? So check us out there on Apple Podcasts on the native app. You don't have to download anything extra, or go on Patreon with a bunch of other benefits other than just ad-free. So check us out, and tomorrow we'll be back with the mailbag. Get your questions in to the mailbag at realwwepodcast@gmail.com, or on our Twitter at Wrestling Audio, or on Instagram at WWE_podcast, or send us a voicemail. You can send us a voicemail by calling our voicemail number, or by sending us a voicemail on email. You can attach a voicemail to the email. So with all that said, thank you everybody for listening. As always, take care. I'll talk to you next time. Let's talk about supplements for just a minute. The market of supplements is overcrowded, right? It's oversaturated. There's too many to choose from. You just don't know which one you want. You don't know which one's effective, what has potential harmful side effects. Well, I have one that I can tell you with confidence is not only not going to give you any of those negative side effects, but also will provide you with the energy that's sustainable. It doesn't have those crashes. And the product I'm talking about is called Energy Boost. It's from a company called Vitali Boost, and they sell a bunch of other great products. But you can check out the website at vitaliboost.com. That's VITALI boost.com. So what makes Energy Boost so great? Well, it's made from natural, clinically researched ingredients that include caffeine, B vitamins, and other energy-stimulating nutrients. And it's perfect whether you're working out, gaming, studying, or during those intimate times with your partner. Not only does Energy Boost give you sustained, powerful energy, it's also specifically formulated to avoid those negative effects that I was talking about that some people experience with just consuming caffeine alone. I'm a massive coffee drinker. I can tell you the crash is no fun, right? We all know that. Those of us that are Starbucks aficionados, or wherever you may get your coffee, we all know what that does. This is not going to give you that crash. And Vitali Boost, by the way, is a leader in the supplement energy market, and customers absolutely love them. Right now, they have a 92% 5-star review on Judge Me. It's a third-party review platform that only accepts reviews from verified purchases, so you know they're not just creating these manufactured reviews. These are real people reviewing the product, honestly, and 92% is an amazing 5-star rating review. So check out Energy Boost today, risk-free. You can go to vitaliboost.com. Again, that's VITALI boost.com. You use our promo code WWE for a discount. But if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the science behind Energy Boost, visit my Vitali Boost's health guide at vitaliboost.com. Again, VITALI boost.com. And right there, you'll find information from peer-reviewed academic journals about the active ingredients in all of Vitali Boost's supplements. All of these supplements, by the way, are made in the United States. That's cool. And a reminder, go to vitaliboost.com and use our promo code WWE. You'll get a discount on the Energy Boost and all of their other great supplements. So don't miss out, guys. Go check out Energy Boost. And again, it's vitaliboost.com. VITALI boost.com.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.